What amazed me was Kirk, fought on, discussed, debated some really tough topics that a lot of people find polarising or they shy away. They've got a view, but they shy away from expressing their view. But those who have criticised him and some of the hateful things that have been said upon his death, reprehensible, repugnant, but they're not people, I think, that have ever watched a video of him reasoning and discussing these things on a student campus, because, yes, they were tough conversations, but he was incredibly polite. He cautioned his supporters to stop, to back their voices down, to listen. He took arguments head on. I mean, this is what it used to be like when I went to university. This is what debate in the West used to be like, Andrew. So how have we gone from, centuries of Western thought and civility to where we are now?
That's right. Well, I think, Charlie Kirk, his debate was moderated by his Christian faith. That's where a sense of humility came from. You've got to love your opponent. You've got to show respect to them, because, as Charlie said numerous times, everyone is made in the image of God, and so they have that innate sense of worth and dignity. And I think what we've seen over the last 40 years or so is, starting in our universities, a repudiation of Christian Western values. And along with the repudiation of the West is a repudiation of faith, reason, debate, inquiry and persuasion. And, we've seen markers along the way, but now we're at a point where we can't even talk to each other in universities and in the public square without resorting to abuse. And there are plenty of examples over the last few days, which I think are just, disgusting, the way people have celebrated Charlie Kirk's death. He was a human, he was a dad, he was a husband, and he was debating people. He wasn't using force to persuade people or coerce people. He was using his words and doing it very effectively.
What about the warning you put in that email in relation to James Kirk? Because you said James Kirk, he's another thinker. James Kirk said the future class of civilisations won't be between the West and one or more of the rest, but it'll be a war within the West, that the West will tear itself apart. It feels like we're tearing ourselves apart in our own society, even here in Australia, Andrew.
That's right. James Kirk was a student of Samuel Huntington. So when Samuel Huntington came out with his Clash of Civilisations thesis in 1993, James Kirk responded. He said, no, the future's not going to be defined by a clash of civilisations, the West and the rest. It's actually going to happen within the West itself, as the forces of postmodernism repudiate all the good things that we have in our great Western tradition. And he said that the fight is taking place. This was in 1994. He said the fight was taking place in the universities. Back then it was intellectual, and I made the point 31 years later, it's now violent. And the fact that we have people being shot on campus in the United States is troubling. And let's not pretend that we're somehow different. Yes, we have good gun laws here, but let's not pretend that we're different within ourselves. People are capable of all sorts of violence in our universities and on our streets, and this is something we've got to watch very carefully here in Australia.
Just before we go, I'm not going to traverse all the stuff last week with Jacinta Price and Susan Lee, but there's a poll out today, Reserve Political Monitor says, basically half the country, 49%, aren't happy with the way Labor is handling migration. Please tell me that after everything that's happened over the last week, Libs are not going to be gun-shy talking about immigration, that you're not going to shy away from the debate, that Australians are absolutely desperate. They're having it at home, and they are desperate for this to be an orderly, adult, policy-driven national debate. Please tell me, Andrew, that you're going to get up and have that debate.
Of course. I already gave a speech about 53 days ago. It's almost had 1 million views on my Instagram, where I called for a cut to net overseas migration. I called for a cut to Labor's uncontrolled migration, and I called for us to put Australians first, so young Australians can get into a home. Australians aren't spending all this time on congested roads, so Australians can get into hospitals which are congested at the moment. So we're not going to shy away from having a tough conversation about immigration. It's a conversation that we need to have as a country. And I've got to tell you, the average person on the street, they see it, they feel it, and they're very concerned. So we need to respond to that.
Well, that is reassuring. Andrew Hastie, thank you. If you want to get on his email list, like I am, just jump onto his website, Andrew Hastie's website, and sign up to it. I think it lands Saturday morning. It's always there when I look at it anyway. Enjoy.